Yo, what up, world? It's your girl, Karma Ye, and we are back with another episode of Culture and Soul. Today, we have a very heavy conversation for y'all, and I am here with two very impactful, inspiring gentlemen, also here to talk about this conversation and also share resources and give insights on how we can raise awareness and prepare ourselves in today's world. To my left, I have Mr. Dante Crowder. He is a serial entrepreneur, a defense specialist, and many other things. I'll give him a chance to further introduce himself. To the right, we have Mr. Lamar Robinson, aka Marweez, CEO of Melanin Market, serial entrepreneur as well, leader in the community, and we just here to shed light on a few things. How y'all doing today?
Bismillah, all is well. Thank you for asking.
Good, bless, yep.
All right. Now, just to fill the viewers in, this was supposed to happen a long time ago, this conversation, okay? Mr. Dante here sent me a message just bringing a conversation to the forefront saying, sis, we got to talk to the people. It's time. We have to learn how to defend ourselves in today's climate. So I'm grateful and honored for you to bring that conversation to this platform, because not only in a world of podcasting where, you know, we talk about trendy stuff, these type of conversations are really important as well. So go ahead and tell the people a little bit about, or however much about, you know, what we will be discussing today.
Okay, Bismillah. First and foremost, I'd like to thank you for allowing me to come on the platform and speak on a topic that's very important in this day and age. I also like to thank you for inviting this gentleman, who I actually know as Marweez, or Mr. Lamar Robinson. He's been doing a lot of good in the community. I actually know him from being a serial entrepreneur.
Yes.
So to be aware of certain great individuals for so long, and then to finally be able to come in the flesh and parlay and politic, it's a blessing and honor.
Mm-hmm.
The topic, well, myself, like I said, my name is Dante Crowder. My name on Instagram is Militant Revenue. I'm an owner of Tier 1 Protection, Armed Security. I'm a martial arts Wing Chun instructor, and a serial entrepreneur. But I wanted to bring this topic to the forefront just because we know that there's so much going on in the world. Crime is going through the roof, and we live in a day and age where we see so many children getting killed, women getting killed, home invasions. We all know that they say we live in a fight where it's no more knuckling, right? It's no more fighting, right? So how do we adapt to that? You know, I remember growing up where we were outside most of the times and being able to go to school and never having to worry about losing our lives, really. Even if you grew up in extreme urban neighborhoods, like the surrounding areas, Philadelphia, Camden, or just different areas, we know that the climate is different than maybe what it was when we were initially growing up. So I just wanted to present some ideas, give people things to think about, so that they could go home and apply these things. So I don't want to. The purpose is not to get too deep into statistics or analytics, but
Gotcha.
just very simple, applicable things that you could do to just be to move as a more militant individual in a very fast changing and violent world that we live in, especially living in America.
I love that. Definitely a necessary conversation. And I love that you don't want to go too far into statistics. We see what's going on outside. Like you said, being a resident of Camden City, you know, we see what's happening. You know, we have neighbors. Nobody's really communicating with each other. You know, I don't know who's next door to me. I see what they have going on, but I feel as though a part of this preparation and moving militant, it's good to know your surroundings, know who you're living next to, build that community just in case something goes down. Home invasion, neighborhood invasion. Y'all seen Leave the World Behind on Netflix, you know, just to know your community and have a plan. Who's going where, who's doing what. You know, I think that that's very important. And a lot of people aren't thinking about that because we're living on that hamster wheel. Got to get to work, got to come home, got to take care of this. Nobody's thinking about worst case scenarios. So I'm grateful for this conversation. Marweez, how you doing?
I'm good. I'm happy to be here.
Dope.
And peace for the great words. I love the set. I love the energy. I just I came here. I feel so comfortable.
I'm glad. That's how it's supposed to be.
Seriously,
Yeah.
yeah.
I wanted to know. So, from your experience, when it comes to moving how you move
Yeah.
and being an entrepreneur, being national, like you all around, soon to be international, right?
Yeah.
How
yeah.
do you move with the knowing that it could go wrong at any time, knowing to how do you prepare yourself in those type of situations?
I love the conversation. I think everybody should definitely take heed to all the insight today. I just got to say that. But from my perspective, the best thing I always say and how I move is, one, it is a crazy world, but two, I feel like we control a lot of the energy that's around on this crazy world.
I love that.
So one thing is, of course, living in Atlanta, license, everything like that. I'm a girl dad, so of course, like I gotta bear arms. But as far as my day to day, I always just make sure I'm prayed up. I make sure I just move. Discernment is high.
Yeah.
And
Discernment high. I love that.
It's just things where, through my experience, through nightclubs, things like that, I've just been able to just read more.
Yeah.
I kind of it's like my energy goes before me. I let God do what He do before I even have to think about my arms.
Got that.
So I just move with God.
I love that. I love
Yeah.
that. There's definitely a spiritual aspect in duality of knowing like we're supposed to be walking righteously. We're supposed to be being kind, extending love to our neighbor and everything. But in a situation, the wrath is very real at the same time. That accountability and that judgment, when it comes is very real. And there's no holdbacks when it comes to that. Now, Dante, if you could give us an example of how someone could move militant in these streets.
Okay, well, first I want to set the platform and say that when I say move militant, it's a lot different from moving paranoid.
Beautiful.
And militant doesn't necessarily has to do with being like brute force or being
Got you.
tough or this fake sense of like you gotta roll deep with 30, 40 people. It's just doing very simple things and putting yourself in a position of having an advantage when and if anything was to happen. So there's very simple things that you could do to quote unquote move militant or move more cautious than instead of being paranoid. Some basics is seating positioning, right? Or like, we all know that. I'm pretty sure you do this automatically. If you was going out on a date with a sister, whatever the case may be, we know as a man that you should never have your back towards the door.
Got you. I've heard that. Yes.
Come on, that's good.
You shouldn't have your back towards the door. So you should always position yourself when and if possible, where you can see the exits. I've even go as deep as tell the waiter, whoever, don't sit me here, sit me there.
Got you.
As soon as you go into the restaurant, your lady sits down. Do you know how many exits there are? Ask the questions. Do y'all have an exit in y'all kitchen? It might seem weird.
No,
right?
not weird at all. Yeah.
When you start, but I'm aware of like, all right, the bathroom's here. I know they got an exit in the kitchen. You know what I'm saying? I know the way I park my car. Even I'll go out front. My car is parked, so when I get in the car, I can pull right off. I don't got to put it in reverse, whatever. These are things that are all done strategically.
Yeah.
Even when you're going out, for me myself personally, it'd be hard for me to maybe get fly or wear certain outfits because I think so tactical. So I might have, I'm trying to blend in, but I'm like, I could put a pocket knife right here. I could put an extra magazine right here. I could put a light right here. And those are things like that have to do with just like moving militant. And of course, as we go on, because, I want to get your insight and your perspective on maybe things that you do. Because we all have it within us. It's not really, you're not going to be taught nothing here really today. You're really just going to be reminded of things that you probably once did before, or you were aware of it and maybe you didn't apply it.
Right.
But like certain things like that are very important. And I'll give one more example. I'm a firm believer in like code words, right? So so if I was around my son or significant other or family member, like we have words where if I hear the word Zarka, or just for example, right, that's my name of my dog, but if I hear a certain word, that word will tell you oh, it's go time.
Yeah.
Or I could tell that maybe I'm at a family function or whatever, or maybe say a drunk uncle's doing too much, maybe disrespecting my lady, maybe she feels uncomfortable. Anything. It's just certain words where you don't have to say too much. You just say the word and not know. Okay,
That's
may be,
important.
It may be go. Oh, him. You know what I'm saying? I could identify a person and everything just by just certain words and nobody would never know. But me and that individual, and that's really, really key, because you at Sixers games, wherever you traveling, sometimes you need to be able to transmute or communicate a message without having to say too much
Quickly.
where a person could just act.
I like that. I respect that. I do love how you point out the difference. And viewers, as you're listening, remember Dante has a security company, an armed security company called Tier 1. Just so you know, when he thinks like this, it is because this is his lifestyle. This is his career. So he is coming with that energy and that perspective. That's where not being paranoid comes into play. I'm stuttering and shit, y'all. It's all good though. We're going to get it together. Thank you. So with that being said, paranoid, we're not doing this to be tough. You know, we're not doing this to roll with a crowd and intimidate others. It's about being humble, but being very aware of your surroundings, you know, moving intentional. I love how you said, you know, you're scoping the scene, you checking exits. I am the same way, not because of any specific trauma that has happened in my life, but just because of knowing shootings happen at the movie theaters, at schools. It's just good to know. At the mall, you never know what type of time other people are on. So just to be aware of your surroundings. You know, I have heard people say, nah, I'm not putting my back to the door. I got us, you know, so that is very familiar. Something that happens in my personal household, we have plans. You know, if there was a home invasion, we know our home more than the other person. So we know, turn off the lights. We know how to move around. We know whose window we going out of and how we getting down. And I feel like these type of conversations are important. And even outside of just people, when it comes to catastrophes and natural disasters, you know, it's good to invest in things like a generator. I was talking to my family. I'm like, with the sea levels rising, we need a canoe. We need a raft. We need something, you know, just to be prepared for these type of emergency situations. It's all about raising the awareness and being prepared. Okay. Marweez, you got anything to add to this conversation?
I'll tell you one thing. It's funny how when I hear my brother talk, it's like, it's crazy how just like growing up in the tri-state area, how automatic that is.
Yeah.
Like I never really peeped that I do the same thing, but I never really broke it down the way he broke it down.
Right.
You
It came down to survival for you in the neighborhood. Yeah.
Because of course I'm out back. Of course, you know what I'm saying? Of course I make sure I'm strategically at certain spots, parking my car, circle the block before I even park. You already know the circle the block.
Yeah.
We all circle the street before we park.
Yeah, especially, you know, you get that,
everybody do.
You know, you get that young lady drop that location on you.
Come on.
You tell her be outside before you. Yeah, I'm outside. You're not even outside.
You're not even outside because you already know it's gonna take 10 minutes. So yeah, it's yeah. So I mean, I love the way you break it down on the expert level, but I also, you confirm how I move right now, and I like that, bro. So yeah, this is good. This is good.
Yeah, you know, all those things is important, especially when you start getting into the firearms aspect.
Okay.
You know, like I said, and it's just about knowing how to move with your loved ones without having to say too much. You know, my son knows if he's riding in the front seat, you know, and if I say a word, you know, he's gonna recline that seat all the way back, because for whatever reason, if he's in the front seat and my firearm's right there, for whatever reason, I feel like I'm about to shoot out that window. You know what I'm saying? You got to be able to tell you and really explain. Not like I said, it's not no move. It's reality.
For
you
real,
know what I'm saying?
it's happening every single day.
In Philadelphia, do you know how many road rage shootings have been? Like, road rage shootings is almost like starting to become normal.
Yeah.
Just from people beeping at you, whatever. They feel like they can just shoot at you on the highway.
No, seriously. A close friend of mine had a gun pulled on her while she works for Pico, driving around. It was a one lane. The person couldn't get around her. So when they came to light, the person came around and pulled the gun out and said, I should pop you right now. Trauma, you know, like crazy. It's really real. Tensions are high. And a lot of people are not managing. They don't have an outlet. You know, like I said, they're on that hamster wheel. So it's only a matter of time before, you know, and then when we have politics and everything happening and rallying people up, and it's just, it's a wild, wild west, it feels like out here. And we're not trying to intimidate. We're not trying to scare. We're just, again, raising awareness to prepare, be prepared.
I like that word aware. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
Because I feel like that's the word that's really like hitting me.
Awareness
today.
is everything.
Yeah, like being aware.
We're not here to fear,
Yeah.
but we have power. We are powerful beings. And when we come together, when we strategize, when we put ourselves in those situations before they happen, the body is ready. The brain is ready to move on that plan. You know, that adrenaline kicks in. You have to be prepared. Now, the martial arts, Dante, when it comes to that type of training, how has that impacted how you move when it comes to moving militant?
Honestly, the martial arts, I think a lot of times people think you learn martial arts to really like hurt people, whatever the case may be. And it, you know, you can hurt somebody with the martial arts. But in regards to how it makes me move more militant, I think it's actually taught me of humility.
Wow, yeah.
I feel like the one who has mastered martial arts is really the one that never has to really use it. That's a saying. I'm probably, you know, didn't say it as clean, but that's really the idea that you really shouldn't have to use your martial arts because, like I said, when it comes to moving militant, whether you're doing as a civilian or armed security or if you're in the bodyguard work, we all know that it's 90% mental, right? And I feel like we know that there's a lot of people in the grave that maybe wouldn't be in the grave due to if their ego didn't get involved or they didn't feel like they had something to prove. So as a martial artist, one of the main things I've learned is to just let people have it.
Right.
You know,
you got to know when to walk away.
You staring at me, you grilling at me, and the natural sense might be like, yo, but you know, but then in the same time, you know, even like when I'm working and if someone's being very disrespectful towards me, whatever the case may be, you just have to think about it. You over there, I'm over there. I know I have a full vest on, firearm, this, that, and the third, you know, and you just, why would I indulge? And even if outside of work, you're over there and I'm over there. Yeah, there's no way. I've never heard anybody get hurt just by looks. Yeah. Maybe by words, maybe by physically someone doing harming you, but by looks, you know how someone step on your shoe, or you know. But we know that we've seen a lot of things go from zero to 100, funerals, janazas that didn't have to happen,
right?
Just because a person couldn't just let go, or you know, just let that person have it, and you just never know what a person's going through. So one of the things that martial arts really has taught me is have humility, be humble, because no matter what you know in the greater scheme of things, you know nothing. No matter what you have,
that's it.
In the greater scheme of things, you have nothing. So be blessed and be thankful that that you know you're above ground. You know,
right?
Because no matter how militant I move, I respect everybody's gangster. You know, because if you think you tough, if someone's tougher, and if you think you could shoot, it's someone that you could just have a bad day. I could have 15 years of firearms training, and he could just have picked up a gun, and it could just be a bad day.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So, like I said, even with the training, you still not even safe, really. You know what I'm saying? So the only thing you could do is be prayed up, prepare as much as possible, but then move with purpose, grace, and ease.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I like that. I like so it sounds like also the martial arts and just any form of physical activity, whether it's meditation, boxing, martial arts, going to the gym, you're teaching yourself discipline. You're being disciplined and you're managing that initial reaction to retaliate or react. Cause you know, we've all been there, been in a club, somebody looking at a little too long and it's like, then you start making facial gestures. Now it's a problem, you know, cause that temperature, it get a little hot. So definitely leaning on some form of practice, physical art, physical activities, meditation, mental, you know, those things help you stay grounded in those situations. And like you said, makes us more humble, you know, makes us more disciplined in those scenarios.
And I think that magic word, aware.
Yeah, makes you more aware.
Like, I think that's what it really all come down to from what I'm getting from the conversation we having right now. Is just really raising that awareness.
Yeah.
Because like you said, one, he could run into me. got all this training. I could have one bad day.
Right.
One bad day that just like it's over. So you really got to be aware to even know, like you said, even to use those trainings and things of that nature. But for me, I don't have those trainings.
Right.
Right. So I'm a person where it's like, all right, I got to be aware of somebody who do.
Right.
You know, you can't just run down on him, or that's not how it works. So awareness is everything. And martial having access to learning martial arts and applying those practices, I mean, it's genius because all it's going to do is raise your awareness.
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
Now, you had a few other talking points.
Yeah, some of the talking points that I had was definitely in regards to emergency planning. Eventually, I want to do, like I said, some follow-up episodes where we do some stop the bleed trainings and basic firearms instruction for the kids. But the main thing is to be proactive and not reactive. You know,
I love that.
Sometimes we get too caught up in just being reactive, and I think a good example of that is when the pandemic happened.
Yeah.
Right, like you could just tell that although it was like a disease that was going on in the air, and we don't realize that it could have been a situation where it was a lot worse.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that we take that kind of for granted. That really should have been a wake up call. You go to the store and people are fighting over toilet paper.
Right.
They put military on the streets, curfews enforced. It's literally, I know, going into the supermarket, you would go in there and it's like, there is really nothing in here. So that one aspect is, all right, self-defense, firearms. The other aspect is, do we really know about canning food?
Right.
Do we know about growing food? Yeah. AT&T just had an outage. What if all the power lines went down, power grids went out? It was a New York. I remember growing up, there was a blackout in New York City. If I'm not mistaken, when I was growing up as a younger child.
Summer. I think I seen that in a movie, like Summer Sam. The movie,
yeah.
So, depicts that.
And don't think that all these movies, that they're just so creative.
They come from a real place.
No, they also have insight into things that could potentially happen, but they're not going to really speak on it. Because they got their little inner circle. Like they know what they're going to do.
I'm getting chills now. Look, I'm getting goosebumps. So now that you said that, it's like we have to talk about that movie, Leave the World Behind. Have you seen it?
I haven't. I'm gonna.
Yes.
Review it,
have you seen that movie, Leave the World Behind?
I feel like I did.
Julia Roberts.
Yes, I think I did.
There's a few good actors in there. Obama is a part of the production. He was a part of the production, coming up with the storyline, and basically there was an infiltration. Everything shut down. Nobody knew what was going on. They're just like, the internet's down. And, we're so privileged. We're just like, well, what are we going to do? What are we, and then you start to see tensions rise between neighbors. Nobody's trusting anybody. And then you start seeing planes crashing, and then people are dropping flyers, and it's like, nah, this is an invasion. We're here to take over. Then you start to hear the bombs and stuff like that. But it's like in those instances, what do you do? What are you prepared? Is there a meeting ground? And now I feel like a conspiracy theorist because I'm like preparing for this. But it's like, I had this conversation with my father. It's like, Dad, like, do y'all have a generator? Like, yes. Okay. So what about like walkie-talkies when the power goes out? Is there a meeting ground? Whose house are we meeting at? Is there like things, right. People aren't thinking of that. And it's very important because things can change in a blink of an eye,
And that's the thing is like the thing is, there's no excuse.
No excuse.
See, we have, because of the day and time we live in, we could get like elite military training without ever having to go into the military. And I'm not saying you have to be on that level,
right?
But if you're a man, I'm holding you accountable that you should want to be on that level. Like, why wouldn't you want to be the most elite, militant, smart person if you're the tribal leader or leader of your household? And it's as simple as just going on Google and finding out people that teach or know or are experts in these things. When I'm talking to you guys, I'm also speaking to myself. I'm reminding. It's really not a reminder to you. It's a reminder to myself that I need to get more on it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So this spring and summer, like even myself, I'm going to put myself through this course of there's some people that do it where they put you in the woods for 6-7 days, and you learn how to. Dad, do I know how to use a compass? Do I know how to just open the map?
Right.
Do I know how to, you know what I'm saying? Like, kind of like on some, we in the woods. Like,
seriously.
Because, like, come on, how many times have you been so nervous because you you on the road and your phone not about to die. You plugging it in and you like, damn, I really don't know where I'm going. I'm going to have to just have, if you ever been lost, it's not a great feeling.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like I said, even myself, I need to learn these things because I'm gonna be honest with you. Right now I can't tell you if this is north or south or if this is west or this is east. So I'd be like, damn, how I'm gonna navigate if I ever had to, if I just ever needed to use a compass, a map, or be here. Do I know how to create fire from nothing?
Seriously.
These and like I said, we have to come to the reality that the world is changing fast, but America is changing fast. And have you ever thought, what if 10 years from now or 5 years from now that we're on the brink of America not being the safest place to live? You know what I'm saying? It's one thing to be able to prepare living in the United States, but are you prepared to live outside the United States? You know what I'm saying? And see, these type conversations people don't want to have because we just want to be sleep. We want to wake up. We want to scroll our Instagram. We want to do our likes. We want to look good. We want to flex for other people who we shouldn't probably be flexing for. And, we become victims. And I think for, and I don't want to be long-winded, but I think for blacks in America especially, where we think that slavery was 2,000 years ago or 3,000 years ago, not just a few hundred years ago.
Right.
A few hundred years ago isn't that long ago.
At all.
And to think that it can't happen again. I think that that's like an illusion of people, especially our people that was like, it can happen again. To a certain degree, we're still not out of it.
Right.
So those are just some ideas and things that I think about, especially when it comes to this topic. It's a very broad topic and it's something we can, different avenues.
Necessary.
And, like I said, in the future, I don't look to be the main speaker or anything like that. I just look to bring the light and network with people and maybe be a medium for you to bring other guests.
A bridge,
without
yes.
Where they could speak on medical, they could speak on tactical different things. Like I said, so many topics.
There is
growing food. There's a brother in Jersey. I'm not sure you're familiar with Freehaven Farms.
Yes, I follow him on Instagram.
Yeah, good brother.
I think he's in Lawnside or something.
Lawnside, New Jersey.
Yeah.
Grows food, has a whole farm. It's almost like
he comes to your house to tell you if your soil has good pH, so you can set up your own stuff. Yes.
Freehaven sets it up for you. These people are right in our community. We'll never reach out.
Right. It's because we worried about the wrong things, and I'm getting goosebumps again. For anytime I get goosebumps, it feels like I have to hover over a conversation because it's like I feel like spirit is telling me we supposed to be right here where we at. You said something along the lines of growing the food and other ways of preparing, going out into nature. You can start with a simple hike. We have the Delaware Water Gap around here in this tri-state area. Push yourself, push your physical limits. Take your time, but be out in the woods. Track the sunlight. Doing things like that, being prepared in that way. There are, in America, it's never safe. Things can always happen. We feel like we're safe because we're privileged and we're distracted as hell, like you said, worried about the wrong thing. But as of lately, I've been seeing a lot of media covering migrants coming over the border. And it's to the point where a lot of people in America have come together to go to the Mexican border and like stand up and say, this is enough. Because at this point we have people migrating all the way from China. And it's like, why are you coming all the way to America when there's so much land in between, And they're coming here, young men that look like they're ready to join the military. You know what I'm saying? And that's kind of scary to think about, where it's like people, if you look at the numbers, it's close to, I don't want to quote numbers, Google that yourself, but just look up migrants crossing over the border in the last year. The numbers are scary, like it's crazy. And they're bringing over gangs, they're bringing over drugs, and these people are being financed from the government or whatever, and it's like, what do we do in that situation when there's enough of them and in the takeover, And again, this isn't paranoid thinking. This is just awareness of what if, how am I prepared, right? And then there was something else that I wanted to touch on that you were talking about. I'll let it come back to me. Marweez, you have anything to add to that?
I'm just enjoying the conversation.
Yeah.
So like I said, that's an important like I said, with the growing the food, preparing to maybe, like I said, live outside of America, maybe if possible. And I think it's a good thing because, I don't want to make this like a black conversation, but right now I'm going to speak to my people.
All good.
I think that when you look at other races, right? You know, you have the Chinese, you might have the Japanese, Indians, and you know we could keep going on. They have a homeland. You know, the Chinese could go back to China, and the Indians could go back to India. Even Europeans, they could go back to Europe. And then when we think about, well, where would we go? You know, if things did get, you know, where would we go? I think that that's something that is something to look into, and I think that investing in the Caribbean and investing in Africa, and wherever we're welcome and wanted, where we could set up our own, I don't want to say sovereign nations, but just sovereign communities where we could live and thrive on our own, by our own culture and religious practices, and then not be influenced by Western thoughts, Western ideas, and putting their stain on things. I think it's very important. And if you think about what makes a lot of these other races successful, is the Chinese, they'll come to America and they'll take the best of what the West has to offer, and then they go back to China. The Japanese, they'll come over to America, or even if you even speak about the Jews, whoever, they come to America and they'll can up food and they'll make money and they'll pull their resources together, and they'll be six deep in a 2-bedroom,
right?
And they'll take the best of what the West has to offer, and then they'll go back and they'll go build their country or their communities. So I think that that's very important. You know, as a Muslim, we're definitely heavy on like making what we would call a hijra, or going back to Islamic countries. But I'm talking to a broad audience. But I think in general that should be a thought and an idea. And one of the main reasons where, as Muslims, we're taught to go back to an Islamic country, because you're never going to be able to reach your full potential, spirituality, physically, spiritually, mentally, emotionally, living in a country that doesn't stand for your morality system. They don't stand for anything that you stand for, if you stand for anything. Now, if you don't stand for anything, then America, what is the place to be for you? You know what I'm saying? But we live in a free for all society, and whether it's if you're in a Christian country, let's just say that for an example, right? You should feel like you're in a Christian country. You should be like, yeah, that feels, you know what I'm saying? Because when you go to Dubai and these different Islamic countries, you know, let me not do too much out here.
Right.
Let me not bring that Western, you know, I'll use the word ghetto or stuff over here, because they are no nonsense, you know, land over there. So they might call it strict or controlling. But to me, I call it civilized. I
was going to say, that's just from the outside looking in.
Right now, like I said, in America, you know, like I said,
wild lands.
Mom's, it's just wild. It's the wild west.
But I'm trying to tell you.
You know what I'm saying? So, like I said, you know, I feel like the conversation swayed a little bit, but I still feel like all those things still have to do with moving militant, because moving militant, it's not just, like I said, with the martial arts, it's not a physical. It's not so much physical. It's like 90% mental and 10% physical.
Yeah.
You know, just like when we taught in network marketing and getting to the money, right? They say
Facts.
It's 90% mental, 10% physical. You know, so it applies the same with moving militant and diving into these different ideas and thoughts.
Dope. Now, my thought came back.
Okay.
In all of what you are saying, are you all familiar with the NFAC? Okay.
I heard of them.
So the NFAC, not fucking around coalition or committee.
No, I never heard of that.
Yeah, but that's what they're called. And it's ran by Grandmaster Jay. Y'all know who Grandmaster Jay is? They are a black militia, and they have chapters in multiple states all throughout the United States.
They got the Georgia when they was
yes,
when
they show up at the
rifles.
rallies. So they actually have chapters and ways for people to sign up and learn. And these are professionals, doctors, lawyers, moms, dads, college students. They're coming together and they're practicing how to defend themselves. They're not here to cause trouble. Look, I'm getting chills again. They're not here to cause trouble, but in America, where this land was built off of violence, you know, and there is no real defense, or, you know, we see the other people, the other groups showing up to these things. These are a more conscious, intentional, this is a more conscious, intentional movement all about Black defense. So viewers, educate yourself. NFAC, Grandmaster Jay is the leader. They have chapters in plenty of states in this nation, and they're doing their work to help prepare. Also, when you said follow-up episodes, I am now a part of the South Jersey Community Reporter Program with Montclair State University. We have some things going on in Camden, and we're specifically focused on hate speech and changing the narrative and how, you know, we have the stats and it's like, oh, this much police violence didn't happen, but that number is too high. So it's like, even though it didn't hit the number, it's still a lot, you know, how they play that game. So definitely an avenue and a platform to have these type of conversations because it's so necessary. Yeah,
definitely. Now, like I said, because you said something that made me think of a thought, and you were, what were you saying in regards to like the police stats?
Oh, when it comes to like police brutality, and they're like, oh, police didn't shoot anybody. But then just because they didn't shoot didn't mean they didn't harass people, or because those stats are so high.
And,
you know,
and that's why, and that's what made me want to segue into this, right? When we talk about prioritizing what to worry about,
yeah,
police brutality is an issue living in America, but it makes me feel types of ways when our people don't keep the same energy. A brother get killed by the police, all types of things go on, right? It's marching, people are in outrage, but a 12-year-old could get killed. A 12-year-old girl could get killed. You know, people's an 82-year-old woman or a man could get stabbed. All different types, and it's like it's no outrage, and the energy is not the same.
Right,
I think it's very cowardly to want to single out, this one random police shooting and this random, you know, bad, unfortunate thing that happened in law enforcement, but your brothers and sisters could get killed all within the community,
right?
And guess what? You know, we still had this pride. You know, you won't even be in the streets, and you be like, yeah, I ain't snitching, I ain't telling. You're not even in the streets trying to follow a code. You know what I'm saying? So bad things are happening, and nobody want to say anything, right? But when the cops kill somebody, our people turn into rats all of a sudden. It was him, that white officer right there.
Right.
Now,
let me say
they don't keep the same code. They don't keep the same energy.
When it comes to just police, let me just speak on this, bro.
Yeah, go ahead.
When I was 13, 12 years old, my first real fight was with a cop. The first person I ever really got in a fight with was a cop. So to me, my take on police brutality is real personal.
Yeah.
I hate cops, all because of my traumatic experience. I got locked up at 12, 13 for the first time for being on my street, and they locked me up because they said it was past curfew. I was on my street with 7 of my cousins, the youngest one on the street. I think because of my tone, he just booked me.
It's extreme. That's so
in the
extreme.
background.
Yeah.
We fought in the police station. I got jumped. I tried to press charges that same year. The cop won Cop of the Year.
You see how that go?
So
Now look. I understand that perspective, right? But just to be objective though, if we had to be honest, I would say, have you been violated by more cops in your life, or have you been more violated by more of your own people?
I think it's been equal, bro.
You know,
it been equal for me.
It been equal for you, right? But for most, in my opinion, right? Because I haven't spoke to all people, so I can't say all people. But in my opinion, I think most people could say I've been violated more by my own people than actually come in direct contact with law enforcement. I think when we speak on racism and things like that, I think that if you're somewhere, if you're in a club or just somewhere, and you know, or putting ourselves in these environments, I think if 20 black people walk in, you know, you're more on alert than if 20 white people walk in.
I'll be real. I gotta disagree. I gotta disagree, boss. Okay, it's the same energy on both sides because we talking about awareness. We talking about awareness. So if we talking about awareness, right? And it's 20 white people, 20 police officers and 20 black people. It's the same thing for me.
Right.
I'm looking at it the same way because either way, it could go left.
I was gonna say either way it could go down. Either way, it gets a little tense.
Yeah,
Everybody's
so I
spidey senses
understand
go
like
up.
how
Yeah.
more militant you got to be when it's 20, bro. It can go left. We already know that, but I feel like you got to keep the same energy all across the board.
That's
yo.
and that's
I
my
agree.
main point.
You know what I mean?
That's my main point. It's not to
Yeah.
put one against the
Yeah,
other, or
yeah,
just be
yeah.
like, you know what, you know. It's not to, you know, because sometimes people like to take this and be like, you trying to talk down on your own people or things.
Yeah, that's why I'm trying to clear. I'm like, oh, I want you to.
Yeah, no.
No, but the main point is keep the same
Energy.
Keep the same energy.
The goal is
Across the
to live in a economy where we work together and amongst ourselves, amongst our people, and we're growing, we're building. We're not seeing people killing, ricochet bullets, and now a 12-year-old is dead because of some gang violence. It's like we have bigger fish to fry here versus these clicked up, gang wars or just street violence and drugs and shit like that. It's a bigger conversation. We do have to bring this one to a wrap. But before we do that, I do want you both to give your information just in case viewers want to reach out personally to keep the story going. We have the platform and we're here for that. But I do want to make it very clear, today is all about awareness, raising the awareness, a call to action, keeping that same energy. There is no difference. Violence is violence. And when it is our own, when it comes to our closest people, you should still have that same passion, that same fire to want to defend, to want to speak up, in preparation, mental health, take care of your mental, get physical, get active, get outside. There's aisles at Walmart. Where you can get supplies. If you talked about starting a fire without having fire, they have those binoculars, compasses, again, generators, things to prepare yourself for an emergency. When it comes to the firearms, reach directly out to Dante here. He can point you in the right direction. And before we wrap up, I do want both of y'all to give your Instagram handles just so that people can know where to find you if they want to keep the conversation going.
Okay. Well, once again, thank you for inviting me onto the platform. You guys are tuned into the Culture and Soul podcast.
Ew.
My Instagram is Militant Revenue, just Militant and Revenue together. You can reach out to me for any armed security needs, self-defense, martial arts, and as well on the entrepreneurial side where I teach how to generate a full-time income by way of transportation. That's where the militant revenue part comes in at, because you got to be militant when it comes to generating the revenue too, right? So, so militant revenue on Instagram, and I look forward to reconnecting with you guys again and speaking to anybody that reaches out to me.
Dope. Thank you.
Yeah, peace. It's Mar Weez. Instagram is MAR, and then Weez, 2 E's, 3 Z's. That means don't sleep on me, by the way, y'all.
Don't
Why?
sleep.
Because I do what you call brand operating. I help small businesses all the way up to just big businesses scale, brand a business through my platform. It's called The Melanin Market. If you follow The Melanin Market, you'll see huge expos, PA Convention Center, all the way down to even more coming up. So if you want to scale your brand, you need your product in front of 5,000 people. I'm the guy to connect with. All I like to do is help people win. So you connect with me, that means you're really connecting with the culture.
Let's go. Thank you both, gentlemen, for the impactful conversation. I hope y'all enjoyed today's episode. We'll be back with another episode of Culture and Soul soon.